A Call of Duty game can live or die off of its maps, and it's been a while since we broke out the Every COD series. A lot of you have been asking for it in the comment section. Yes, I read every single comment on every single video. It's just something that I have committed to do, and today, we're bringing it back in a huge way. Today, we're going to be looking at what I think is the best map in every single Call of Duty game, from Call of Duty 4 all the way through Black Ops 7, and of course, we are including COD Mobile, and of course, we are including DLC maps today. So you let me know down in the comments which map you think is the best of all time for each game. Drop a like on the video, and let's transport all the way back to 2007. Call of Duty 4 has to go to Crash. Now, some people have said this is the most perfectly balanced map in COD history. I get it. Crash took place around a downed helicopter in the middle of a deserted town, meaning there were a ton of buildings. You had windows, alleyways, all of it for you to navigate through. And if you were playing Domination, which I was, you would get into some pretty intense battles for control of the B flag, which it was in the middle of a downed helicopter in the dead center of the map. Now, it's interesting because despite there being so many buildings and windows, Crash never felt random or unpredictable. All the different buildings were distinct power positions, and there were pros and cons to each one. This was how you built Call of Duty maps back then. Every playstyle was viable here as long as you knew the layout and you knew the different sightlines. Modern Warfare 2019 brought this map back, but it was completely butchered because Infinity Ward decided to add a bunch of random new head glitches and it screwed up the flow. But no surprise here. Infinity Ward just couldn't help themselves with Mac remakes these days, but this one back in the day, it was as close as you could get to perfect back then. World at War. I'm going to go with Castle. It's definitely one of the most impressive visual maps of the Xbox 360 era of Call of Duty. Medium-sized map, super unique layout. I mean, you were fighting in and around a cool Japanese castle. There was a ton of important points of interest that you could use as power positions. If you could control that big tower in the middle, you could have a huge advantage over the other team. But at the same time, you had to be careful for people flanking you. Assuming you didn't spawn in with some bouncing Bettys, I mean, you already know. Castle, absolutely iconic. And it was iconic for a good reason. Every play style worked here. Perfectly fit the vibe of World at War. Gritty, visceral, dark, realistic battleground. Still felt like you were in the middle of an epic action movie. Real quick, guys, thank you for all the feedback on the thumbnails that I asked you for at the end of yesterday's video. Really does make me feel good that a lot of you make it all the way to the end of the videos and you actually listen to what I'm saying. So I appreciate it. I read all your feedback in the comment sections. Modern Warfare 2 2009. Terminal, come on. Took all the best parts of Crash, perfectly translated into a Russian airport. Honestly, a pretty big map if you think about it in terms of square footage, but it was super fast-paced because you had all these different vantage points and power positions that were constantly flipping possession between the two teams. You had the big patch of high ground at the top of the elevators, you had the head glitches at the burger joint, you had the corners of the bookstore, you had the windows of the plane, some people would get on top of the plane. You get the idea. Terminal was a great map. I mean, it was perfectly... It was perfectly made. It managed to give you tons of major power positions without ever making one of them distinctly better than the others, which meant people were frequently moving around and rotating around the map. They would create a super fun whirlwind of bullets and explosions. Classic Terminal truly is a perfect Call of Duty map. I would easily give it the title of best map in classic Modern Warfare 2. Heck, I would even call it the best Infinity War map of all time. But I'm going to let you guys debate that down in the comments. Black Ops 1. This one's personal to me. Firing range. It was a hard pick because Black Ops 1, most of you know, is my all-time favorite Call of Duty. And the launch map lineup, man, it was stacked. Treyarch cooked with all of these maps, but if there's one that just has to get the top spot, it has to be firing range. Fast-paced but balanced, small and straightforward, but with tons of verticality and important power positions. It kept things interesting and engaging. There were so many iconic locations here. There was the second-story windows of the two main buildings. There was the sniper tower in the middle of the map that was almost impossible to get into, but so worth it if you managed to get in one piece. There was the middle section with the Jeep and the moving targets. There were the back alleys that were perfect for flanking. I mean, there was a ton. Firing range is now one of the most overplayed maps in COD history, which, that's kind of sad to me. But the OG version is nothing short of amazing. I think it's one of the most timeless maps in the entire franchise. And we're talking about hundreds of maps. Modern Warfare 3, 2011. I'm going to go with Resistance. You were probably expecting me to put Dome here, and I did think about it, but then I remembered that Resistance is in the game, and I had to give it the spot. Now, Resistance may not have been the fastest paced map in classic Modern Warfare 3, but it was probably the most well-balanced and versatile, which makes it kind of surprising that it's only come back a few times. Took place in France. Actually, a really accurate recreation of a real-world location, lets you fight in the streets, use various buildings, you can cover, you can flank. It was an awesome map that really let you experience Modern Warfare 3 at its best, and even though it was a relatively large map, it was still pretty fast-paced. You really had to be aware of your surroundings here if you wanted to finish at the top of the scoreboard, unless you were one of the douchebags that glitched your way onto the roof. Black Ops 2. Impossible, right? Jam-packed with all-time great maps. I'm going to go with Standoff. I had to think hard about this one. Ultimately, I'm going to settle on Standoff because of the sheer number of viable playstyles here and just how intense the matches got every time. Other maps like Raid and Hijacked, yes, top contenders. Something about Standoff hit different. You could snipe, you could flank, you could rush, you could camp, all 100% viable. The flow on the map was amazing. The power positions perfectly complemented each other, and you could never get too comfortable in one spot. I love the map. I mean, I love Black Ops 2. Honestly, I'm excited to see the comments what you guys actually think is the best map in this game, because Black Ops 2 has so many S-tier maps that I think there's going to be probably a pretty heated debate on which one is actually the best of the bunch. Call of Duty Ghosts. I was looking through all the Ghost maps, and I was really hoping I'd find something like an unexpected pick to surprise you guys with, maybe one of the DLC maps you forgot about, but at the end of the day, there's no beating Strike Zone. The map is too good. Honestly, it's a shame that it's only appeared in COD Ghost, because this is the kind of map that would be amazing in another game with faster movement and a longer time to kill. It was the fastest map in the game. Took place around a baseball stadium. It kept that combat really close quarters and tight-knit and mid-range, all while giving you a few different ways to get around the map and take the other team by surprise. Plus, the entire map would change if somebody got a chem strike, which gave it a ton of extra replay value. So yeah, I was hoping that one of the DLC maps would stand out to me, and I could give you guys a little nostalgic surprise. But I like to be honest with myself here and to you guys. Strike Zone cleared everything else in the game by a pretty large margin. This is also one of Infinity Ward's best maps. Advanced Warfare. Let's go with Terrace. I think this is one of the most visually striking maps in Call of Duty history. It took place on a Greek island, Santorini. I've been there. It's amazing. It's beautiful in real life, and it was beautiful in Advanced Warfare. Sledgehammer, they did an amazing job. They captured the beauty of the entire area, but they also did an amazing job at making you feel like a complete tank by letting you jump from rooftop to rooftop while you dove down on enemy players, occasionally running through random buildings to get the drop on an unsuspecting opponent. It was excellent in every way. Great jetpack map that really made the most of the advanced movement while also having pretty fast and balanced flow that was good for every game mode. I would love to see this map come back, but it would also mean that we got jetpacks back, which frankly, I'm okay with this at this point. I did a video the other day about it. This map literally only works with jetpacks, so if you want to play Terrace again, okay, you got to be okay with me and have jetpacks come back. I'm sure you guys will tell me your thoughts down in the comments. Black Ops 3, another almost impossible one to pick. I'm going to go with Combine, absolute banger of a map. This is another example of an advanced movement map that makes the most out of the mechanics in the game without being too aggressive about those mechanics. Combine, super fast-paced, well-balanced map. Several areas where you could get a lot out of the wall running, the thrust jumps, but at the end of the day, you could play this as a boots-on-the-ground map 100% if you chose to. It was the best launch map in the game. Despite there being a ton of DLC maps released for Black Ops 3, nothing topped it. I mean, Treyarch came out swinging with this map, and it was not only my favorite map in the game, but I honestly think it's one of the best maps in the advanced movement era. I mean, the best jetpack maps would make the most out of that movement without actually forcing you to spam it. Combine did that perfectly. Infinite Warfare. Sometimes you just can't beat the classics. Genesis. Genesis was basically a reskin of Dome from classic Modern Warfare 3. Fit perfectly with the advanced movement of the game. So I guess you could say it's a little embarrassing for Infinity Ward that their best jetpack map was a reskin of a boots on the ground map that happened to work real well with jetpacks. But ultimately, I think as long as we get good maps, it's okay. Genesis made a couple tweaks to the dimensions of Modern Warfare 3 Dome, so that way you could get more use out of your jetpacks and your wall running, but they were able to keep that super fast-paced in style, which it was a ton of fun for a game like this. Even if you didn't like Infinite Warfare as a whole, I mean, this was fun. I'll admit, there might have been some other good maps that I'm not remembering about Infinite Warfare, but I don't think you're going to blame me too much. I didn't play the game that much. I don't think many of you did either. COD World War II. Sandbox. Now, COD World War II was lacking in really good maps on launch day. We all know that. I mean, fact is, COD World War II was lacking in maps in general on launch day altogether. Had the fewest, I think, 6v6 maps in COD history at the time. But leave it to Sledgehammer to try and make things right with the community, and they added a ton of free content to the mix. Literally hundreds of patches. And one of the last things they did was they added a free DLC map called Sandbox. Not only had a lot of personality, it was a fun map. Sandbox shrunk you down, turned you into this little green army man toy doing battle inside a literal sandbox using big plastic pails and shovels as cover. So the theming, it was really cool, but also the layout was fantastic. This had a ton of verticality. It had important power positions. It felt super old school. If you were to reskin this map with something more realistic, I think it would feel right out of Black Ops 2 or classic Modern Warfare 3. Excellent map, all around. I think it deserves to be called the best map in the game, and I get bonus points for it being a free DLC map at the time when paid DLC maps were still the standard, so there. Black Ops 4. I'm going to cheat. Firing range. I mean, it's my video, so yeah, I know it's a remake, but sometimes that's just how it goes. Black Ops 4's best map was a 1-to-1 remake of Black Ops 1's firing range, and I think that is a testament to how good this map was. Black Ops 4's gameplay perfectly fit on this classic map, and Treyarch didn't mess any of it up. None of the great parts of the original, which happens a lot now. They knew they had a classic on their hands, so they copy-pasted the original without changing anything. Take notes, other developers. Firing range plays amazingly in Black Ops 4. Might be a bit of a cop-out to call it the best map in the game, but like I said, it's my list, and this is how I feel. Modern Warfare 2019. Hackney Yard. Now, there weren't many maps in this game that I think can be uncontroversially called good. But Hackney Yard was one of the launch maps, and it proved that some of the people over at Infinity Ward are still making maps with that old school mindset. Now, Hackney Yard really felt like something out of classic Modern Warfare 2 or Ghost, and I mean that in a good way. It did have some doors, it had random dark camping spots for no reason, but the flow, it was still fast, the layout was pretty straightforward, and it was one of the few Modern Warfare 2019 maps that I think used the classic 3-lane design in a good way. I know some of the DLC maps are also more traditional. I'll admit some of them were even good. The oil rig map and that Hideout 1 spray, or that Hideout 1, I think. I don't know. Those come to mind. But for me personally, I had the most fun on Hackney Yard. Granted, I also hated the game, so my opinion is probably skewed. But yeah. Black Ops Cold War. Raid. Kind of unfair to have a remake here, probably. A little weird to have two Treyarch games in a row where the best map is a remake, but can you blame me? Raid's the best. Translated super well into Black Ops Cold War, even if the theming was a bit of a clash because Raid takes place in the 2020s, but Black Ops Cold War takes place in the 80s, so I'm not entirely sure how that works, but whatever, time machines work. Raid obviously debuted in Black Ops 2, fan favorite there, then was brought back in Cold War. Players quickly found out how much it benefited from the longer time to kill and the faster movement of Cold War. Whether or not Raid was actually better in Cold War than it was in Black Ops 2 is a debate that I will leave up to you guys. But I'll gladly call this version the best 6v6 map in this game. Vanguard. We're going to go with Tuscan. Sure, there weren't many all-time great maps in Vanguard to me, but there were some good ones. Tuscan is generally seen as the best original map in the game. I think it clears the remakes of Dome and Castle as well. Sledgehammer really tried to make the best of a situation here, and it feels very old school in the best way. Really feels like something pulled out of the golden age of COD, but with modern graphics, which I guess that's all you can ask for. Vanguard wasn't a very good game, at least to me, and I know it has its defenders, but I'm just not one of them. But that being said, I could definitely see why people like the map. Regardless of how you felt about Vanguard as a game, this map was pretty fun. Modern Warfare 2 2022. Greenberg Hotel? Kind of sad that this is the best map in the game to me because it's probably only a 7 out of 10. But I guess that's what happens when you make arguably the worst Call of Duty multiplayer of all time. I mean, Greenberg Hotel is relatively fast-paced for a Modern Warfare 2 map, but at the same time, it's campy. There's a lot of annoying corners and head glitches that can be abused. If you want to experience the best possible Modern Warfare 2 gameplay, this is probably where it's going to happen. I mean, you are going to be in a lobby with a few Timmies. The pace can come to a screeching halt and turns into a snooze fest, so I guess I'll call Greenberg Hotel the best map in the game because it has the potential to be really fun, like I said. I think the fun caps out at a 7 out of 10 experience. Modern Warfare 3 2023. We're cheating again. Terminal. It's too good. The remake of Modern Warfare 3 is exactly what I wanted. No stupid changes, no random doors, just a faithful copy-paste of the original Terminal's layout in the modern COD engine. You know what? It worked. I was one of the many people who actually didn't like a lot of the classic map remakes in the game because I didn't think they worked very well with the new movement. But Terminal, it was an exception. Such a well-balanced map that despite the movement in the game being way faster than it was in classic Modern Warfare 2 or Modern Warfare 3, the experience is still good. Basically, every game mode, 10 out of 10, no complaints. Moving on. Black Ops 6. Payback. Now, BO6 got a lot of negative attention for its maps on launch day. I'll admit I was probably a little too forgiving of the launch maps at that time, but I can also admit that it wasn't the best showing overall. That being said, Payback is probably my favorite of the bunch, both out of the launch maps and the DLC additions, and it's still the best representation of Black Ops 6's gameplay loop in my opinion. Now, in case you forgot which map this is, Payback is a smaller map that takes place around somebody's safe house. You can run through the building, down the garage, through the yard. Pretty frantic, but it's in a good way. Diving out of the second story windows into the grass while blowing somebody away with a shotgun, it was pretty cool. The maps were pretty inconsistent in this game, but I think Payback was fun. Consistently fun. Black Ops 7. I'm just bailing out now. Raid. I'm not playing this game. Frankly, you're probably not playing this game, so I'm going to go off secondhand knowledge here, but generally speaking, I think the BO7 community likes how Raid translated to the game. Maybe they don't. People are just talking with nostalgia in their eyes when they say it. I don't know. But yeah, this is another Treyarch game where the best map is a remake from the Golden Age. Go figure. Who would have thought? Writing's not on the wall at all. And finally, Call of Duty Mobile. Terminal. This game is entirely made up of map remakes, so your favorite one is going to be entirely dependent on which maps you personally already like. So everyone's answer is going to be different, and that's okay. Me personally, I love Terminal. It's one of the best maps in COD history. I think it plays really good in COD Mobile in every single game mode, so here it is. I'm sure everyone is going to have a different opinion here, but for me, I think the resident COD old head gets it. I'm giving this spot to Terminal for like the 4th time on this list. It's just timeless. There you go. Hope you guys enjoyed. I'll see you soon.